Most people that launch a dropshipping store have zero skill set. They steal someone else's product and steal someone else's ads from Meta Ad Library, and they keep repeating that until something works. Stealing from someone else isn't a strategy, and it doesn't have to be that way. I don't guess, I don't steal, I validate. I simply sell products on Google that have high demand, low competition, using the same principles that have driven supply and demand forever. In this video, I will show you the exact plan that I'm following to build a 10K per month store from scratch, so that you can follow along step by step. This is the full roadmap, and it starts right here. I'm building an e-commerce store from scratch, and I'm going to document every step of the journey. I'm not speedrunning it, and I'm certainly not going to be stealing anyone else's product. I'm building a real brand backed by data and scaling it to 10K per month. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the full roadmap, which is everything that I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks, from validating the product to setting up the business, building the store, and launching the ads. So if you want to build a 10K per month e-commerce brand in 2025, then this video is for you. So let's get into it. So here's my plan to make $10,000 a month with a new dropshipping store. And I want to start by explaining my approach. Now, you'll notice it says here, building a niche brand. My approach is very different when it comes to Google Ads for e-commerce, okay? And there's two words that I want to emphasize here, niche and brand. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I intend on launching a niche brand with just a handful of products and scaling it to 10K per month. And it's actually very simple, okay? I will start with a single product and then begin to scale vertically in a market where I've validated demand. And I'll talk about product and market research in just a moment. And when I say scale vertically, I simply mean I will just begin increasing the ad spend in the initial market, and I'll keep doing so until I reach TAM. TAM is total addressable market. So on Google, you do have a cap when it comes to search demand, okay? There are only so many people every single month in a particular location searching for a particular product. Those are people who are ready to buy. You can target these people and typically expect a high conversion rate because they're essentially bottom of funnel traffic. Once I've capitalized on all of that bottom of funnel traffic, then I will begin to scale horizontally. So introducing that same product into different markets. And when I say different markets, I simply just mean different locations and different countries. That's going to allow me to increase my exposure and scale horizontally. Then I'll begin to add similar products that are within the same niche. The benefit you have by advertising a handful of products within a particular niche is you can become an authority within that niche, and it's much easier to actually brand the products and transition away from dropshipping to an actual brand. So why is it easier to build a brand when you have less products? Well, when you're working directly with suppliers, if you do want to add your logo to products, if you want to make amendments to products and essentially start branding them yourself, then suppliers will usually enforce a minimum order quantity. So if you start with just a single product and then begin to add more as you scale, you're then going to be able to reinvest profits from the sales into ordering minimum order quantity of products. I've decided to run a giveaway as part of this series where I'm documenting my journey to making $10,000 a month with this new dropshipping store. I'm going to be giving away one free coaching call for every video that I release within this series. Now, it's super simple to enter. All you've got to do is like this video and drop a comment. I'll then be picking one lucky winner at random from the comment section and reaching out to you directly so that you can claim your free coaching call. Good luck, and keep an eye on the comment section where I'll be announcing the winner and truly turning this dropshipping business into something that has longevity, something that's an actual brand. Now, my approach is very different to the typical Google Ads dropshipping advice that you'll find online. Okay, most other people will tell you to list hundreds or even thousands of products, build a general dropshipping store, and just run a performance max campaign. Now, I'm not throwing shade on this strategy, okay? It's just not my approach. For me, it feels very similar to those who will tell you to just keep testing different products on Meta until you find a winner. My approach is meticulously planned, and absolutely everything is backed by data. To me, it almost seems foolish that all of this data is available and at your disposal, but most people choose to ignore it. Instead, I leverage it. Now, with this approach, where we're backing everything up by data, our foundation is going to be fundamental to our success. Now, whilst I'm a big advocate of speed, one thing I do not rush is product and market research, as this is going to dictate the success of our business. So I'm going to start with my 4-stage product validation method, and this consists of measuring 4 leading metrics: search demand, level of competition, AOV, and whether or not it is evergreen. Now, if I were to share my entire process in this video, it would be extremely lengthy. And I've already got a very detailed video that's live on my YouTube channel for free, which goes into my 4-step product validation method in detail. And I even give away my blueprint for free that you can use to find winning products. So if you do want an in-detail breakdown of exactly how I do this process step by step, then I'll drop a link to the video in the description and you can check it out. And the best part about this process is no paid tools are required, okay? All of this information is available online for free using tools like Google Keyword Planner, Google Trends, and Google Shopping. Once I've completed the product and market research and I've validated a handful of products within a specific niche, I'll then be moving on to step 2, which is product sourcing and fulfillment. So to source the products, I'm going to need to find a trustworthy agent. Now, fortunately for me, I have many friends that are operating within e-com at a very high level, and no doubt I'll be able to send a few messages and get some introductions to an agent. A great agent will actually become an extension of your team. They will be able to communicate very well with you in English and the suppliers in China, and they will help you to determine the good suppliers from the bad. They'll also help you negotiate pricing and working towards a target price so that you can maintain a very good and healthy margin. They'll even allow you to send a product to their location in China so that they can actually quality check it for you before you even ship it out to them. Okay, the benefit you have of them being in China is you can send a single product to their office and they can actually open the product in person, unbox it, make sure the quality is good, and verify it before you even send anything out to your customers. Obviously, this is something you only need to do one time, and once the product has been verified and validated as being good quality, you can then begin shipping it out to your customers. And ultimately, they're just going to be there to resolve any issues that you might face with the supplier in China, whether that be shipping delays, wrong items being sent out, absolutely whatever it could be. They are going to be able to help you resolve any and all of those issues. So trust me when I say a great agent can literally make or break your business. But if you are able to find a good one, they are genuinely invested in your success, okay? Most of them rely on referrals and therefore they want to maintain a good reputation. Now, after validating my products and sending it to the agent for sourcing and fulfillment, I will proceed to set up my business. Now, as I'm a UK citizen currently living in Dubai as a resident, I'll need to figure out where the best place is to launch my business. It's quite expensive to set up a business in Dubai, so I probably won't go down that route. What I'll most likely do is set up a US LLC, because as a non-US resident, if I'm generating e-commerce sales outside of the US, then I'm not liable to pay any federal taxes on profits from those sales. If I were to advertise in the US, then I would need to, of course, pay sales tax and federal tax on those profits. Now, if I do proceed to set up a US LLC, then I'll need to use a third party to get that set up for me as a non-US resident. And this is likely going to be the first cost for this business. I already have connections available to be able to do this, and it costs around about $500. Now, after setting up the business, I'm also going to need to acquire a few more business assets, which are required for me to set up the business and operate online. So first and foremost will be a domain. A domain is just simply the URL, okay? So the www.theosstore.com. In addition to that, I'm going to need a business email address. Now, I use Google Workspace for this. That will allow me to get a Theo at whatever my store name is.com email address, as opposed to using like an @gmail.com. So it's just going to allow us to make sure the business looks professional and of course legit. I'm also going to need a business phone number that can be present on the website for customers to call should they have any issues. Google is also going to want to see a number present on the site as well, so it's good practice to get one. In addition to that, I'm going to need a business bank account. Typically, these are free. And in addition to that, I'm of course going to need a logo, which is also free. I'll just create something on Canva. It will take me 2 minutes. So of those things, the only things I'll need to pay for is the domain, which is $13 a year. I can buy it from something like Namecheap. The business email through Google Workspace, which is about $7 a month on their starter plan, and a business phone number, which is also around about $13 per year. I won't need to use the business phone number to make any outbound calls. It will simply be for answering inbound, and anything outbound can be done via email. And this is simply the cost of doing business, okay? In reality, it's very low cost. There's not really much here in terms of startup costs other than the company setup. And even then, the company setup is a one-time fee, and I can't operate without it. So in my opinion, it's a necessity. Once the business is set up and I've acquired all of the assets, I will then proceed to ICP research. So what is an ICP? ICP stands for Ideal Customer Profile. Now, I've already decided what niche I'm going to be selling in and the products that I'm going to be selling within that niche, but to be able to sell them effectively and efficiently, I need to understand who I'm going to be selling to. So that's their wants, needs, pains, and desires. Once I know exactly who I'm talking to, it's going to be very easy to make sure that all of my messaging is in alignment, and it's going to allow me to have a high conversion rate. Building an ICP document is something that's extremely important, and in my opinion, it doesn't get talked on enough, okay? I'd prefer to put the time and energy into doing the extensive research now to truly understand who my customer is, so that I can then leverage that later when building my store and building my ads to be able to talk exactly to that person and maintain a high conversion rate. So in a later video, I'll break down my process and show you how I intend on doing that research. Now, to build the store, I'm going to need to first select a theme. What is a theme? A theme is essentially like a website template. Shopify has been built in a way that's very easy to use. It's pretty much just a drag and drop builder. You can add and remove elements as you wish and essentially just design the website how you want it to be. But to do that, you need to have a Shopify theme, at least as a base. When it comes to selecting a theme, it really just comes down to your personal preference and also the budget that you have available. Shopify has a ton of free themes, and they also have paid ones as well. Paid themes can be as much as about $350 or $400, and they're typically a one-time payment. So if you can get a free theme, why would you pay for one? Well, like I say, it really just comes down to your personal preference. Usually the paid themes have a lot more support, and they come with premium features. I prefer to use a paid theme so I can leverage the premium features and elements. What I tend to find with free themes is you will experience some form of limitations, and you'll have to either implement custom code or purchase an app which has a monthly recurring cost in order to add a particular element. So for me, I'd rather just make it easier for myself. I'm going to make a one-time payment for a particular theme. I already have one in mind, which I believe will have everything I need to get started. Once I've built the store and connected the products, I'm then going to launch the ads. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to need to create a Google advertising account, a Google Merchant Center account. I'm going to need to set up my conversion tracking. And once everything is set up and I've confirmed there are no issues, I will proceed to launch the campaigns. Now, when it comes to launching the Google advertising strategy, I do have some ideas in mind. However, the exact strategy is going to be dependent on a few different things. Okay, first and foremost, the niche that I decide to launch in and the products within that niche that I decide to sell, my ideal customer profile, who they are, what their wants, needs, pains, and desires are. In addition to that, the level of competition and also the market that I decide to advertise in. With Google, there are many different networks available to advertise on, whether that be leveraging text-based ads or image-based ads, video-based ads, and there are many different variables that are going to dictate your success on each of these networks. So once I have all of that information to hand, I'll then decide on the exact strategy that I'm going to implement for this business. So, total cost breakdown. How much is all of this actually going to cost me to launch this e-commerce business? Well, let's summarize. So we have the US LLC, which costs around about $500 to set up and is a one-time fee. We then have the paid Shopify theme that I have in mind that I'm considering using, which would be about $350 and again, a one-time fee. We then have two recurring yearly costs, one of which is the domain at $13 a year and the business phone number also at $13 a year. We also have a monthly recurring cost, which is the business email and Google Drive at $7 per month. Now, there is one additional monthly recurring cost that I haven't mentioned yet, which is getting set up on Shopify. Shopify have different plans available and they do change their pricing now and then. But at the moment, to get set up on Shopify as a starter, it costs around $30 per month. The reason I decided not to mention this as a cost is because I've partnered with Shopify, which means I can launch my store, and for the first 3 months, Shopify only charged me $1 per month as opposed to the $30 a month. So that means I'll only pay $1 a month for 3 months, and then after those 3 months, I will begin to pay the $30 on the starter plan. Now, the good news is I'm also going to share my Shopify trial link with you. So if you do want to launch a store and pay just $1 per month for your first 3 months, see the video description for more information. So total cost for the launch of my e-commerce brand is $876, exclusive of the $1 a month Shopify cost. Now, you can of course reduce these costs depending on where you decide to set up your business and whether or not you decide to use a paid theme or a free theme. Now, the goal of this series and me documenting my journey to building an e-commerce brand and taking it to $10,000 a month is not to be as cheap as possible, okay? I'm just being transparent and showing you what I'm doing. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do this. So if you are trying to follow along and you do want to cut costs, then you can do. So now we've been through the entire roadmap. How long is this actually going to take? And I would say realistically, a couple of weeks. But keep in mind that I also have an e-commerce podcast where I release a video every 2 weeks. I'm also a director and founder of a Google advertising agency. I also have my Google Ads Ecom Academy mentorship program, and I release a video every single week on YouTube for you guys. Not to mention I also have a missus and a life outside of work here in Dubai. The point I'm trying to make is if I'm able to maintain all of my businesses at a high level and still create a store on the side within a couple of weeks, then you can most certainly do it alongside your 9 to 5. The only thing stopping you is most likely knowledge and guidance. Right now, you have access to my exact roadmap that I'm going to be following to make $10,000 a month with a new dropshipping store. But if you want access to my Google Ads Ecom Academy 2.0, which is my mentorship program where you'll get a complete A to Z on the exact strategies for product and market research, product sourcing and fulfillment, business setup, building a Shopify store, launching your Google advertising accounts, and my Google Ads Masterclass, then consider clicking the link in the video description to learn more. These are the exact strategies that Sasha followed to generate €513,429 in just 4 months. The same strategies that Ollie used to generate £55,000 in revenue in just 9 weeks, and the same strategies that Kyle used to get from 0 to 1K per day in just 30 days. So if you do want access to the knowledge and guidance that Sasha, Ollie, and Kyle all followed to generate these results, then click the link in the video description and apply for my mentorship program. All right, so that's all for this video. In the next one, I will begin product and market research and also product sourcing and fulfillment. So if you're enjoying this series so far, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, and also subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.